Welcome to Martial Road, a journey through forgotten techniques, forbidden moves, and the untold power of martial arts. Some takedowns vanished after knees twisted under bodies that couldn't turn in time. Some strikes disappeared once doctors started counting vertebrae. A few escapes looked heroic on posters and terrible on scans. Tonight, 10 techniques that crossed the line hard enough to get escorted out. How they work, what made officials nervous, and the clips coaches still bring up in rules meetings. Number 10. Te Guruma, the hand-wheeled judo moved off the mats. Te Guruma meets a forward stance, cuts the angle, and lifts through the legs while wheeling the hips. The scoop feels like a high crotch from wrestling, but the finish rotates across judo center line. If the defender turns late, the knee, hip, and lower back travel in different arcs, which stacks torque. Kodokan listed Te Guruma among the newly accepted throws in the 20th century. It was practiced in training halls for decades. The problem for tournaments came later, when the IJF rewrote the rulebook in 2010 to steer contests back toward classic grip exchanges. Any hand that traveled below the belt during the finishing phase drew penalties. That policy turned Te Guruma into a museum piece at the elite level. National referee clinics ran slow-motion breakdowns to help judges spot the scoop the moment an elbow dipped. The mechanics never left grappling entirely. Folk style and freestyle still use the same lift on the mat and along the fence in MMA. Number 9. Sukui Nage, the scoop that slid under the band. Sukui Nage solved stiff-arm stalemates. When lapel and sleeve went static, judoka changed levels, threaded under the hands, and lifted both legs off the base. It looked clean when the defender fell with the motion. It turned nasty when they tried to twist while the thighs were trapped. After 2010, referees were told to watch elbows more than feet. If the forearm traveled under the leg during execution, it counted as a leg grab, even if the grip exchange started high. That interpretation closed the door on the true Sukui Nage in IJF events. You still see coaches teach upper body versions that keep hands above the belt and sell the action as a forward reaping throw. IJF seminars showed frame-by-frame examples for years to keep the category clear. In Nogi, the same body mechanics live on as scoop finishes to single legs. Number 8. Tawara Geshi, the rice bag roll with a hidden price. Front body locks are common in scrambles. Tawara Geshi answers that squeeze by setting through and rolling the attacker over your torso. When the back rounds and the chin tucks, the landing is smooth. When panic kicks in and the defender posts with an arm or, worse, the head, the fall goes through the shoulder girdle or the neck. Coaches who keep it in their curriculum teach 3 details. Collapse the space before the sit-through so the attacker can't reclamp your ribs. Round the spine to avoid posting. Finish the roll across the shoulder, not the crown. Those habits are why the move remains in self-defense programs and some no-gi chains. IJF-GI phased it out as entries began to mix with knee scoops that violated the leg grab rule. Number 7. Kata-Guruma, the original shoulder wheel with a thigh scoop. The classical version pins an arm, scoops the thigh, loads the body across your shoulders, and wheels off your line. Clean entries feel like a carnival ride. Panic midair changes the picture. The posting arm gets trapped, or the head snaps as the body tries to twist off your shoulders. The modern tournament version keeps hands high and uses arm control to load the same arc. That redesign grew out of the 2010 reforms. Clips from IJF clinics in the years after show exactly where judges draw the line. Shoulder wheel with sleeve control. Fine. Any hand that dives to the thigh? Penalty. The change reshaped the whole national styles, Gregorian pickups, the ones many fans nicknamed after Olympic champion Shota Cabarelli, needed new roots that stayed above the belt from start to finish. Number 6. Slamming out of submission. The escape rule sets love to hate. Stuck in a triangle or an armbar? The lift feels like the simplest answer. Stand, get elevation, spike them back to earth. In MMA, that approach has turned fights. Gerald Harris lifted Dave Branch and shut the lights off. Matt Hughes carried Carlos Newton on the fence, and they collapsed together. The crowd loves the drama. Grappling's big federations live with the aftermath, not the clip. IBJJF bans slams across divisions because the person on bottom can't always unlock in time. The danger isn't only the head hitting the floor, it's elbows torquing as the body whips and necks taking a bounce they didn't plan for. ADCC allows slams to escape submissions, which makes open class matches wild and forces referees to judge intent on the fly. Some pro cards copy ADCC, others copy IBJJF. Insurance policies often decide that argument more than promoters do. Gyms settle in practice with simple rules. If you feel elevation, angle and hook the far leg to kill the lift. If you're the lifter, put them down and pass. Hard slams don't belong on a Tuesday night. Number 5. Strikes to the spine. The target every rulebook avoids. Officials teach the same map all over the world. Ear to ear across the back of the head is illegal. The stripe down the center line, what boxing people call the mohawk, is off limits. The reasoning is anatomical. The neck doesn't absorb shearing blows, and the brainstem sits in that zone. Even glancing shots can cause real trouble. Referees manage this in real time. You'll hear warnings during flurries. Watch the back of the head, and then see cautions or point deductions if it continues. That single point can swing a close fight. The same caution is why officials in boxing take a long look at punches that wrap behind the elbow line. Livers drop athletes. Kidneys and necks lead to hospital nights. Number 4. Bear hug takedown. Judo. The straight end clamp that triggered a rewrite. Two arms locked around the torso from neutral looks powerful and feels wrong under Judo's philosophy. The 2010 reforms also targeted straight body locks without a prior legal grip. The goal was simple: bring contests back to Kazushi through lapel and sleeve, and reduce head-down charges that end with knees colliding and necks bending. The nuance matters. You can enter with a sleeve or lapel, then transition to the body. That's legal. If you jump straight into a clamp without any established grip, you'll hear Shido before the scoreboard updates. The first season after the change was full of growing pains. Wrestlers who crossed into Judo carried over habits from the mat and learned fast that the sequence matters as much as the finish. The ripple effect was stylistic. Nations that relied on pickups rebuilt their games around drags, foot sweeps, and hip throws. It changed how entire teams trained. Number 3. Clavicle grabs. MMA. The small foul with big consequences. Early mixed rules lists spelled this out. No eye gouging, no fish hooking, no digging fingers into the collarbone. That last one sounds minor until you felt a thumb bury into that notch. It turns the shoulder and neck like a steering wheel and splits skin over bone. Modern phrasing often rolls clavicle grabbing into gouging or digging with fingers. The intent is the same. Open hand frames and pummeling are fine. Clawing is not. Good referees stop those exchanges quickly and take a point if the message doesn't land. Gloves have evolved to reduce eye pokes, but glove design can't fix a fighter who wants to pry at the collarbone. That part relies on enforcement and coaching. Number 2. Forearm and elbows in boxing. Why inside work has boundaries. Boxing allows the knuckle portion of the glove to score. Inside fighters still try to sneak forearms on the break or skim an elbow while turning. The effect is obvious. Orbitals crack faster. Cuts open with less effort. A match that should be about hands becomes a bone-on-bone fight. Watch great infighters and you'll see careful framing with the inside of the glove to make space for hooks. That frame is legal. The moment the ulna takes center stage, the referee steps in. Trainers drill the difference over and over because one bad habit can cost a round or a point. That line keeps the sport predictable and keeps careers longer. The best pressure fighters don't need the shortcut. Number 1. Head diving or neck bridging to avoid a throw. Judo, the shortcut that ends a contest. Under pressure, some athletes try to save the scoreboard by planning on the crown to keep their back off the mat. The IJF position is absolute. If the head or neck takes the load to avoid a throw, the match ends with disqualification. The rule protects athletes from a reflex that can do real harm in a fraction of a second. Referee clinics use slow-motion clips to teach the call. The body starts to fall. The crown touches first, and the rest of the frame folds over the cervical spine. That posture is how catastrophic injuries happen on camera. The rule also shapes coaching. Take the fall, build back the points, live to fight the next exchange. When you see an old highlight where someone plants like a tripod and gets away with it, you're probably watching pre-reform footage. Strip labels off and the pattern is easy to see. When a move turns a neck into a post, a hand into a hook, or a spine into a hinge, the rulebook grows teeth. Judo fenced off scoops and straightened clamps to keep the art on grips and angles. Grappling told athletes to solve submissions with structure, not gravity. Striking sports narrowed legal surfaces so fighters leave the ring in one piece. On Martial Road, we follow those shadows. Remember to subscribe, like, share, and see where they lead.